What's up guys, Jimmy here, and it's been a while since I've done one of these channel update videos, so I figured it's time. I'm really running late anyways on a lot of different topics that I initially wanted to cover, but had to postpone for various different reasons. And I'm currently running late on a vacation trip that I'm about to make, so I'm gonna try to keep this one as short as possible. Not a lot of editing going on if I'm gonna be able to make this to upload it in time to YouTube. So I wanted to talk about Street Fighter 6. I wanted to talk about my current situation and what you can expect in the future. So let's get this started. So yeah, let's start off with a little bit of a personal update. I'm going on a vacation trip, as I've just said, with the family. There are going to be multiple trips. So there's probably not going to be any upload until around mid-September. Maybe in between two trips, I might be able to do like 1 or 2 uploads in early September, but don't count on it, and it's not guaranteed, you know. This vacation trip is really going to be necessary. Not sure how many of you guys have been following what's been going on behind the scenes on the channel with me personally. My mother recently passed away. And this was a really difficult time, and it still is a difficult time for me, since the last like 8 months or so. Me and the rest of the family, we've been struggling with a lot of decisions around that, with the hospital and stuff. Like, this has been an ongoing situation. I'm sure many of you guys, especially those who watch my Twitch channel, know about this. So yeah, I really need this vacation, okay? It's been quite stressful, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the future. Life can be tough sometimes, but at the same time, it really reminds you that we're not gonna be here like forever, you know? So you gotta make the best out of it, you know? So this is what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna be taking some time off with the family. And then right afterwards, you can expect a lot of great content. So this is something I've been looking forward to for a while. Like, I want to ramp up the production schedule. I've talked about this multiple times, and this is finally going to become a reality because my wife is going to concentrate on the management side of this channel. So this is finally going to become a thing. I've talked about this multiple times, and we had to delay it multiple times, unfortunately. But we're finally there. So once I'm back from the vacation, expect a lot of content, like regular uploads, the daily schedule on YouTube. I definitely want to get back to that. Lately, I've been really struggling to keep up with that. But rest assured, everything is planned out. I have no plans to abandon the channel, in case you are thinking that, because I've been kind of slow lately. But yeah, the channel is alive, and it's going to be it's gonna flourish even more in the future. At least I'm hoping so. I'm gonna put in the time and effort necessary to make this a reality. So I'm hoping for the best. Thank you so much, by the way, for sticking with me for so long. If you're watching this video right now, you're basically watching this channel on a bit of a down phase. So yeah, this channel is basically alive because of you. So thanks a lot for all of the support, and yeah, I can't wait to show you what's to come in the future. So now let's finally talk a little bit about Street Fighter 6. There are so many different topics and so many things that happen around Street Fighter 6. Around the same time, my mom passed away, unfortunately. This made it very difficult for me to keep up with new information or like making any kind of videos around the topic. So I feel like I missed out on a bit of a start for Street Fighter 6. But yeah, let's finally talk about a little bit of that. There's some controversy. There's a lot of positive reactions for Street Fighter 6 that I've seen, and that I personally absolutely feel as well. So right off the bat, let's be clear. I'm very excited for Street Fighter 6. What I've seen so far has been overwhelmingly positive. There are a lot of question marks, obviously, like the netcode. Capcom. The netcode is really important, okay? Don't screw this up. Like, this is like one of the most... Like, this is something like... It's like a make or break situation for me, you know? Like, Street Fighter V, for example, is such an enjoyable game in an offline setting, and this is something that I always feel when I'm playing offline. But man, is it frustrating online, and I'm pretty sure you guys know what I'm talking about, right? So I think this is like the #1 thing that people are looking forward to. Maybe Capcom is finally going to fix the netcode, you know? They've already said they're doing this from scratch, so I have very high hopes this is something they're going to be able to, do a good job on. They already messed it up with SF5, so hopefully they learn their lesson. This is definitely the #1 thing that I'm worried about when it comes to Street Fighter 6. Because if the netcode is trash, then it doesn't matter how good the game is. It's just not going to be enjoyable for the vast majority of the times when you're going to be playing the game. Because we're going to be playing mostly online, right? So let's hope the netcode is good. So let's talk about the visuals of Street Fighter 6 a bit, because, I mean, there is, for me, not a lot to say about this topic, to be honest, and I want to keep this video short, so it looks good. It looks really good. It's within my expectation. I think Street Fighter 6 is going to look amazing anyways, like, so far, what I've seen, pretty good. I'm not, like, in any way worried about the visuals, being underwhelming or whatever. I think one thing that is potentially a little bit controversial is the change in the faces. When I saw Chun-Li first, it immediately is noticeable that Chun-Li looks different from previous iterations because Capcom is trying to make the ethnicity of the characters, make it more in line with that. So Chun-Li is Chinese, and she actually looks Chinese in Street Fighter 6. So that's fine, that's good, as long as they don't mess up the characters. Like, don't give us Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite Chun-Li, you know? And that's not what happened, so I'm happy about that. Chun-Li looks absolutely gorgeous. And the rest of the cast so far has, looks amazing. The animations look great, the visuals in general look really interesting. It's clearly still Street Fighter, so I'm very happy about that. The visuals are great. So now let's talk about the music. The music is something that I think is, like, maybe the most controversial thing so far in Street Fighter 6, because the characters don't actually have their usual themes. This is a bit of an unusual thing for Capcom, or maybe not, depending on what Street Fighter game you played, I guess. I think Third Strike did the same thing, right? So, I'm actually a bit torn on this topic. Obviously, I enjoy the classic themes, so when I heard Ryu's theme for the first time, I was like, that's not Ryu's theme. But at the same time, like, at first, I want to give you, like, my honest opinion, okay? I heard Chun-Li's theme first. That was the first one that I actually listened to, and I was expecting a remix of Chun-Li's theme. I listened to it, I was like, that's not Chun-Li's theme, but it's good. I actually liked it quite a lot. So I was like, okay, they're going for something different for Street Fighter 6, that's fine. Then I listened to Ryu's theme, and I was like, what the hell is that? That's anything. It just didn't sound like this was Ryu, you know? I think the theme itself sounded good, but it didn't sound like it was Ryu's theme, if that makes any sense. But I have to say, I kind of did a 180 on this one. After listening to it multiple times, and I have it like in my playlist when I'm streaming nowadays, I've listened to it often enough so that it actually became a great theme all of a sudden. I'm not sure, like, there are like certain melodies and songs that you have to listen to them multiple times until you actually start to like them. And I feel like this happened with Ryu's theme. Nowadays I actually really enjoy it. I think, I even think it fits the character. I don't know what to say. Yeah, overall, I think we're gonna have the remixed version, like the original versions of the themes are gonna be in the game. I'm pretty sure about that. There's gonna be an option to turn something like that on. But Capcom is clearly trying to give us a real identity for Street Fighter 6. And I think that's actually great. I think it's important to give Street Fighter 6 as much personality as possible. I think at the end of the day, this is how people are going to remember these games more. I mean, how many remixes of Ryu's theme are we gonna listen to in the future, or like how many themes do you want to listen to? Like it's the same song over and over and over again. I think it's great. They're at least giving us the option to have different themes and even different like main themes for the characters. It's gonna make Street Fighter 6 stand out, and I think that's actually a pretty good idea. And so far, Capcom has done a good job. All themes sound great. Now let's talk about the gameplay. Now the gameplay is something that I'm very curious about, because when Capcom announced the drive system and like broke everything down, you can even see like my full breakdown of the drive system in my reaction video. Capcom, like, it was really amazing. I was not expecting Capcom to give us the entire system mechanics, like just presented on a website like that. It was really good because it shows they already have a lot of confidence in what they've developed, and it's clearly already pretty fleshed out. You know, maybe some minor adjustments here and there, but I'm expecting this to be pretty final. So, the drive system. You have 6 bars. You can use EX attacks with those drive gauges, right? Like with the drive gauge called Overdrive in Street Fighter 6, right? So this is gonna take some getting used to, calling it Overdrive instead of EX. But yeah, you have a lot of flexibility, and I think this is something that Capcom wanted to specifically give us as a result of Street Fighter 5. One of the main complaints about Street Fighter 5 when it comes to the gameplay is there's not enough flexibility in how the characters operate. There's usually one correct way to play the character, and that's about it. Like, there's no variety in how you can show your own personality or how you can put your own personality into a character. And I'm pretty sure Capcom, maybe they've even overdone it. Like, I'm not quite sure. Like, the drive system is so unique and has so many different unique features of it. It's very hard to judge right now how it's going to work out. Because when it comes to mechanics, you don't want to, like, if you have a lot of different mechanics working together, there's more chances for you to be missing something or to be messing up something, especially in terms of balance. So I think this is going to be challenging for Capcom, but if they can successfully balance the drive system properly, then it's going to be amazing, because you will have to make a lot of decisions both on offense and defense, and I like that a lot. You're going to have players who are going to focus on a lot of offense, because it seems like offensive players are actually going to get rewarded, but being too offensive carries a huge risk because there's the burnout state. So if you use up your drive gauge too much, then that can backfire. So I'm going to be really curious to see how this is going to work out in a real match. You can choose to spend like basically FADC, the drive rush, to gain an advantage on the ground, but it's going to cost you 3 bars. So really interesting to see, are players going to utilize the drive rush mechanic a lot and the parries, and drive impact seems very risky for competitive play, so I'm really curious about that one. Or are people going to just use up a lot of EX gauges, essentially? I mean, right from the start of a round, you basically have access to 6 EX attacks. So it's going to be really interesting to see. I'm fascinated by what Capcom came up with the drive system. It seems super flexible. It seems very interesting. I think competitive players are going to love this, and I think casual players are not going to be super overwhelmed by it, because you don't have to utilize all of the options anyways, right? There are a couple of things that are going to be utilizing, like drive impact. To me, for now, seems like the obvious mechanic for beginners, but not so much used for competitive play. But we'll see about that. So far, I'm very, very pleased with the gameplay portion. The drive system is amazing. The characters look really interesting. Ryu looks very interesting. I guess I should be talking about Ryu a lot more, but I don't have a lot of time for that right now. Maybe I'll do an in-depth video specifically covering Ryu and how he's different from previous versions. But I can guarantee you, I'm going to be playing Ryu. I mean, this shouldn't be coming as a surprise, you know? And I'm looking forward to the drive system. The drive system is pretty fascinating to me. Parry OS might actually still live in Street Fighter 6. This is something I'm going to try to test as soon as possible once I get my hands on the game. So yeah, I'm very pleased with the gameplay, and like, definitely let me know, by the way, on every single topic that I've covered so far. The visuals, the music, the gameplay. What do you guys think? Like, I definitely want to know what your impression is. Maybe you have a completely different opinion, because so far my impression of Street Fighter 6 is very positive. Very, very positive. Maybe I'm a bit naive in certain points. So yeah, if you're critical of Street Fighter 6, definitely let me know what you don't like so far. And yeah, any thoughts, all of that, please in the comments. I want to finish this video with one more topic about Street Fighter 6 that I think is pretty controversial, at least to some, and that is the modern control scheme. In case you have not seen this before, Street Fighter 6 is actually going to be launching with two different control schemes. The classic one, I mean the one that we're used to, with the 6-button layout, and there's also going to be a modern, like that's called the modern control type, which basically gives you access to special moves with a press of a button. So a button press plus a directional input is going to determine the special move that you're going to be getting. Now, this is something that I was very curious about at the start and was not sure how it's going to work. The more I've seen so far, like the more like I'm certain that the modern control type is going to be fine and a good addition and nothing to worry about in terms of competitive play. Now, I've seen some people make or try to make the argument on my Twitch channel that the modern control type is horrible because it invalidates the players who've put in the effort of learning how to do special moves properly. And they feel like beginners are getting a shortcut, and their argument is basically, this hinders my enjoyment because others are getting to where I am without putting in any kind of effort. I find this argument pretty weak, to be honest, because first of all, I don't think that giving you one-button specials actually puts you on the same level as learning the special moves properly with the classic style. I think that's a completely different achievement anyways, and it should be something... This is basically a discussion about intrinsic versus extrinsic rewards. Learning how to do something or learning a skill in a fighting game is inherently an intrinsic reward. There's nobody who's going to come up to you just because you learned how to do a Shoryuken. You're not going to get anything in the game besides a higher success rate of winning. So it's inherently an intrinsic reward, and I think this is where you can see like different player types come up. Intrinsic rewards for competitive players is much more important than extrinsic rewards. An extrinsic reward would be if the game gave you something for learning a new skill, right? But it doesn't really give you that. You're only getting a better chance of competing, right? So, and the satisfaction of having learned something, right? You've learned something, you've actually improved your skill set with it. And this is something that I think a lot of people should be understanding. First of all, the people who are playing on the modern control type, they do not have the access to the special moves that people with the classic control type have. This is something very important. You only have access to one special move. You don't have access to all of the normals, as far as I can tell. So there are multiple nerfing factors with the modern control type, which actually, this is one of the main reasons why this is not going to be done competitively. Competitive players won't be able to just pick a character to have easier special moves. It's going to come along with a lot of baggage in terms of like restrictions of what you can do. This is not going to be acceptable for any competitive player. And I think the people who are in fact complaining and are saying, hey, this guy is beating me because he's on the modern control type and I'm losing because I'm on the classic control type, I think if that is actually the case, then you should probably be playing on the modern control type to begin with, because this is only gonna apply to beginners, right? And if it frustrates you that you can't do the special moves properly, and you can't use the toolset of the character that you're playing, then the modern control type was developed specifically for you, right? So I highly encourage people, like beginners, should really play with the modern control type without feeling bad about it, right? I think that's actually something that is really important. The main reason why the modern control type is so important is because to a lot of people, it's not reasonable to learn how to do special moves and the super and everything in a fighting game. It's actually a lot of work to do that consistently. And competitive players, I think, forget about that very easily, or like people who've been around for a long time. You don't have to be a competitive player, but if you've been playing Street Fighter 2 since the early days and you've played every Street Fighter since then, you probably don't struggle to do a Hadouken, right? But a completely new player is, and this is actually a really big factor. And I'm very happy Capcom is actually addressing this. This is something that I've been talking about since before the announcement of Street Fighter 6. I've said, hey guys, I really love motion inputs and all of that, what we have in Street Fighter 5 and before that. But Capcom needs to do something about the inputs because they are simply too difficult to get into Street Fighter. And I'm pretty happy they found a good middle ground, apparently. I'm really looking forward to seeing more casual players give Street Fighter a chance. And the whole point of the modern control type is to get people started so they actually enjoy the game, and then if they are interested, they can actually go to the classic control scheme. This is something that will have to happen for people if they want to get to a higher skill level, right? So I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's a great idea. It's something that I predicted anyways. I said Capcom needs to do something about it. I wasn't sure what Capcom could do. I was really worried about Street Fighter 6 becoming like getting rid of motion inputs entirely, but thankfully this is not what's going to happen. So yeah, I think competitive players or anyone who's interested in the classic style of playing should not be worried whatsoever about the modern control type. And if you are, then you should probably be playing the modern control type anyways. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this topic. So yeah, this is mostly what I want to talk about. Maybe I could briefly talk about the leaked roster. One thing that I'm pretty disappointed about is we kind of know the first 22 characters in Street Fighter 6. If you have not seen the leaked roster, then maybe don't look at it because yeah, every announcement might be really disappointing as a result. Kimberly and Juri were announced and like recently, and I really felt that it would have been so much better if we didn't already know about Juri specifically. I mean, Kimberly was actually announced or teased in the reveal trailer, but Juri was not announced at all, and that was just leaked. So yeah, it feels a bit bad, but at the same time, it's still exciting because we can still see the characters for the first time and what they're going to look like in game. So it's still fine and it's still hype. But man, leaks are so bad, you know, it's so annoying. And me as a streamer, for example, I can't even avoid the leaks because even if I'm trying to dodge every leak, I'm gonna end up streaming on Twitch and somebody is gonna bring it up. So I'm screwed no matter what I'm gonna be doing, you know? So if you're one of the lucky ones who hasn't been, well, spoiled with all of the information, yeah, consider yourself lucky and try to keep it that way, okay? Maybe, like, these reveals are probably going to be pretty hype, so don't let others, like, remove that excitement, you know? I'm looking forward still to all of the reveals because, as I said, it's still hype to see what the characters are going to look like in-game, what they're going to be able to do. Still a lot of exciting new information, but yeah, this is something that I definitely want to talk about. Leaks are never good, you know, and this one in particular feels pretty bad. But yeah, that's about it. I think I'm done for today. I think I'm running late anyways. I need to get going, so I'm gonna try to edit this somehow super fast. Sorry if the editing is trash, but yeah, I'm gonna try to upload this to YouTube right before I go. Once you're watching this, I'm probably on my way. And on my vacation trip. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for all the support. I hope you enjoyed this video as well. I'll see you guys mid-September. Maybe I'll be able to upload something earlier than that. Yeah, but we'll see about that. Thanks a lot for watching. Take care, and I'll see you soon.